good evening, all of you. I want you all to unmute yourself and please come on the camera. Good evening. How are you all?
Good evening.
Good
I
evening.
hope you all are doing good.
All
Excited
good.
about the session. I am really very excited. I don't know about you, but since morning I was feeling wow. It will be a great session with all the celebrities actually in my show. You name it or not, but yes, you all are celebrities today because you are coming up on my channel. It's all about you, where we will be talking about openly about breakups. And why I'm saying breakups, because यार I don't think किसी की लाइफ में सिर्फ एक से काम चला होगा. हाँ होगा, एक से कईयों की लाइफ में वो बिल्कुल नहीं हुआ होगा. But for me, breakup, as Bhavna last time told me very clearly, breakup is not about a relationship. It is about breakup. When we talk about, it's the invested time, right, Bhavna? I am a
When
good
we talk
listener.
about relationship, we talk about investing our time.
Yes. So it
And
was more about investing our times, and breakup is not only of a relationship, breakup is of emotions. Breakup can be of an habit. Breakup can be, a generally a disconnect. I hope you all agree with me कि breakup का मतलब यही है. हम लोग definitely relationship से उसको link करते हैं because है. And I want you to welcome all of you on my open house where we'll be discussing openly breakup कैसे करना चाहिए, breakup क्यों होता है, breakup के बाद move on कैसे करना चाहिए. और एक क्वेश्चन ना मेरे दिमाग में आज सुबह से जो चल रहा था वो भी मैं जरूर पूछूंगी बिकॉज ये जितने क्वेश्चंस हमें ओपन हाउस के आए थे दिस इज फ्रॉम आवर व्यूअर्स ओनली हु वांट टू नो कि एक्चुअली ब्रेकअप कैसे करना चाहिए, ब्रेकअप क्यों होता है, व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट, एंड इज इट ओके टू हैव अ सोशल मीडिया ब्रेकअप जो आजकल बहुत ट्रेंड में है कि लेट्स ब्रेकअप ऑन सोशल मीडिया एंड मूव ऑन. So I want everybody to introduce. I am Preeti Kapoor, the host of the show, and I want everybody to take a minute and introduce yourself, why you are here, what's your name, and what you do. So over to you, Bhavna. Let's start with you.
thank you, Preeti, for having me. I'm Bhavna Munga. I am a relationship coach, and probably I can certainly I can give you a expert advice on having breakups and future relationships around. Thank you.
Great. Shreyanshi, over to you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Shreyanshi. I am a law student, and I'm here because I was approached by one of my friends to attend this talk show because, as Preeti ma'am said, that most of us have experienced breakups and relationships, if not personally, then vicariously. And I believe that if I have made through or I'm trying to make through, I want to help other people also, to find out what they're looking for, whether they should break or not, what is stopping them. And I'm sure I'll be learning a lot from here, from everybody. So there are two reasons. I want to learn and I want to help others to learn as well.
Great. Shelly, over to you.
Hi, I'm Shelly and I'm pursuing my bachelor's in psychology. I'm a second year student, and I was also approached by one of my very close friends for this particular talk, and the topic seemed interesting, and at the same time I felt that this topic is not really discussed formally, not formally or something like with a wide audience. Mostly we discuss it with our friends, with our close friends, and that's all. We never really talk about it in open, and people don't really seek out to talk to others if they face problems when it comes to breakups, whether it be in a relationship, it can be with anyone. So I felt like this would be an opportunity when, as Shreyanshi mentioned, that I will also get to learn a lot, and at the same time, if possible, I'll also be able to give whatever I have learned till now.
Great. Over to you, Bhuvan.
Hi, I'm Bhuvan. I'm a digital marketer, and I am here because my life is about breakups. Just the contexts are different. And yeah, I was invited by the super host. So let's see. I wanted to learn new perspectives. Always been thrilled about it. So let's see how it goes.
Great. Chavi, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Chavi Agarwal. I'm 19. I'm in third year pursuing geography and history as my bachelor's and as degree. And basically, I like to talk about things which are stigmatized or just considered as taboo to talk about. So here I am.
Great. So if we talk about, we have people from all streams. We have budding lawyer with us. We have budding psychologist with us. We have relationship coach. We have digital marketer. And we have a student who is doing her geography honors. And I must say, I am actually blessed to have you all on my show because when I started this journey of it's all about you and taking up topics like anxiety, relationship, breakups, people were saying pagal hai kya? Kaise topics utha rahi hai? Nobody wants to talk about it. I said, but I want to talk about it because these are the topic why anybody should not come forward and talk about it. Everybody should come forward, especially the teens, especially the parents. They should come forward and talk to their kids, and teens should talk to their parents because we all go through one or the some hiccups. Like Chavi said, it's a taboo. People consider this as a taboo, but no, it's not like that. And Bhavna, I must tell you, Chavi was also the host for my first episode of It's All About You, O Zindagi, where you were there last time on breakup. She was there on anxiety. And what beautiful insight this girl has shared. It gave me actually goosebumps at that point of time. Because 19 at 19, I never thought of coming forward and talking so loudly and so openly about the topic. Hats off, Chavi, and
Thank you.
Shriyanshi and Shelly definitely are, and Bhuvan, you are coming for an open house, but I'm telling you openly that I'll be creating a different theme for you and inviting you on my talk show that's Oh My Zindagi so that you should come individually and tell people your views. So this open house is let's make it very interactive and please अपने दिल की बात बहुत openly बताना. Nobody is judging you today. Nobody is actually seeing what you have gone through, but definitely you can be a stepping stone for many. Okay, I've just read a quote somewhere कि जो हो गया उसको भूल जाओ. Let's consider more on future, concentrate more on future, and move on. But I know after a breakup, it's not an easy thing to move on. Till the time you don't get that second option. I don't know. That's my thinking. Because when I broke up first, I needed that second option to move on. I don't know what's the thing. So let's begin with this open house and make it more interactive with all of you there. And the first question that goes for the open house that people have asked, I think 80% people have asked, what is breakup? So over to you. You can actually मतलब ये मत वेट करो कि मैं किसी का नाम लूंगी, अपने आप से बोलो. बिकॉज जो अपने आप से फटाफट बोलोगे ना शायद वो लोगों को जल्दी समझ में आएगा rather than my calling you आप कि आ जाओ यार बोलो. So who is starting? What is breakup? I want to know your
Ladies
views.
first.
Oh no. This is not a ladies show कि ladies first. We all are equal. Bhavna is very particular about it and me too. अभी हम दोनों शुरू हो जाएंगे कि भाई ऐसा क्यों?
Start, please.
Yeah. Bhuvan, over to you.
Yeah.
Aha, acha, okay. So, like when you're taught to being a gentleman, that doesn't work here, I guess.
Yes.
So, breakups, I feel it's kind of like a journey, because there are hell lot of ups and downs in it, and you need to go through it like from one point to the other. You can't skip it. It's not a YouTube ad. You have to go through it. And and it's different for other people. For me, moving on was like a matter of 2 days. For a few friends of mine, it might have taken months. It's been taking years. And for me, being a guy who is always about patience, who is always about self-worth, I feel irritated, and also I feel bad for the people who go through these processes, putting themselves down. Like they should be there has to be a different perspective about it, and yeah, I think the more we talk about it, it's better.
Great. Who's next?
Okay, can I go next? Okay, so breakup for me, it's like taking a break from something and, really focusing on yourself. You can take a break from something and clear up your mind and refresh your thoughts or something, because, nothing is permanent. Like when we say forever, it's not like forever. So, and focusing on yourself, taking time for yourself, that's that for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I agree with Bhuvan and Chavi that, when we talk about breakups, keeping yourself on the priority is the most important thing, because everybody has a saturation level, right? You can try to keep a relationship going on, but one day there will be a time when you just can't try anymore, and you don't want to reach there. That's where we talk about self-worth. You should know where to stop. That's what breakups are about. That a lot of us don't know when to stop, when to give up. So breaking up is knowing when to give up, when we are more important than a relationship which is just working because of our efforts and not efforts from the other side.
Great. Shelly.
Um, I believe, like my concept of breakup stands that with every person we have in our life, we share a certain kind of emotional or some bond with them. I share a particular kind of bond with my parents, a separate kind of a bonding with my mother, with my friends, and a separate kind of bonding with my romantic interest. So, whenever due to any XYZ factor, due to any reason, when there are strains of that particular bonding, and we find the relationship facing problems such as communication gap, etc. I think that can be considered as a break or a breakup, wherein the bond on which the entire relationship stands or the foundation has been shaken or broken. And yes, like I agree with as Shyanshi, Bhuvan, and Chavi already mentioned. I do agree that there are a lot of other facets that we have to consider while we talk about this. Our own perspective, how if we can keep the relationship going just by our own efforts or not. So that is how I understand breakup.
Bhavna, you must be mesmerized with the thought कि इतने सारे young thoughts, youth, what youth thinks about breakup.
Yes,
लग
I
रहा है ऐसा?
am. I am. That is why I was smiling that they already know so much. So they are really invested on themselves, and then they know how to look at life with a very open perspective. So before that, before understanding about breakup, let us understand why humans are into relationships. Why do we need other people? So that we can understand that why we need to break up. So from my perspective is that the people need relationships so that they can complete their incomplete parts. So as Bhuvan said that when we break up, why people take so much time, then people, he doesn't like that because they feel they are incomplete and another partner, the romantic interest, is trying to complete them. So when that relationship goes away, we feel shattered because there is something which we felt is complete in our life puzzle has gone away. That makes us shattered, and that is why we take so much time coming out of it. So if the people are complete within themselves and they have their self love and they know their self worth, breaking up process is more mature, and then it can be done in a very nice way. And then you can understand when the relationship is not compatible or when it is not working out, and what are your priorities. एंड जब आपको पता है कि आपके प्रायोरिटीज क्या है और आपको क्लियर है रिलेशनशिप से, तो आप हर रिलेशनशिप में जाओगे ही नहीं. यू विल नॉट टेस्ट एवरी रिलेशनशिप, यू विल बी वेरी माइंडफुल कि ये रिलेशनशिप के साथ मैं कंपैटिबल होने भी वाला हूँ या नहीं हूँ, और यू आर गोना टेक योर ओन टाइम. तो दैट इज व्हाई अंडरस्टैंडिंग रिलेशनशिप बिफोर गेटिंग इनटू अ रिलेशनशिप एंड देन फाइनली ब्रेकिंग अप is more important. This is what my perspective is, and yes, as Shreyanshi said, if relationships are not working out, it's better to break up. And rest all really contributed well. Yes, it's whatever I will say will be just a small addition.
No. I just want to know from Shreyanshi. Shreyanshi, कैसे पता चलता है यार saturation point आ गया? मतलब वो दिन का भगवान दिमाग में बोलता है भाई साहब अब रुको, अब हो गया, वो कब आता है saturation point?
To be honest, ये saturation points बहुत बार आते हैं in one relationship only. You reach the okay, I'll give my example. So I've been on a break for the past 6 months, and I've had saturation points in between when I would feel that why are we on a break? What is the point of this? Where are we going to end up? And those saturation points for me now, those were just my saturation points, right? I thought that we should not continue this break and we should just end part ways. But when I communicated that this is how I'm feeling, the response was different. For that person, the saturation point, their saturation point had not come, they had not reached the saturation point. So that is when I realized, okay, maybe I'm being affected too much, right? So that is where communication came into point. Okay, people when they break up, when mostly in relationships, as Bhavna ma'am said, that if you are extremely mature, then you realize, okay, it's not working out from both the sides and you break up. But in most of the relationships, one person has reached the saturation point and they break up. The other person might still want to try, but the relationship has ended. And when you reach a saturation point, when you don't feel happy in the relationship, you don't feel happy that okay, I have somebody to talk to, you're not feeling any reciprocations from their side. That's for me that was a saturation point, that what is the point of being in a relationship, what is the point of having a bond with this person when I cannot when I'm not gaining anything from it. That was
Very
my
deep thought. Very, very deep thought, Shreyanshi, I must say. Because many people, I hope आप सब agree करोगे, they drag the relationships. They actually drag the breakups. कोई नहीं, अभी और chance देते हैं, अभी और रुक जाते हैं. How, Bhuvan, you are smiling, so मतलब can you relate to this कि देते हैं लोग chance कि रुक जाओ यार, अभी उसको hurt हो जाएगा, छोड़ो ना, अभी नहीं बात करते.
Yeah, this is the same thing that happened with me. So
Okay. So India wants to know.
so it's like be it anything. Like I won't just talk about one person. Be it anything, be it anybody, be it anything. Okay. So when we talk about, let's just start with one individual. Okay. So when you're in a relationship, when you're in a bonding with somebody, you just kind of scared that whatever your actions may be or whatever, get hurt by that.
You're going
In
on
a
mute.
very, sorry.
Yeah, you were on mute. Now it's okay.
Yeah. So it's a very confused feeling, because inside you're completely saturated. You just want to express things. But on the other side, you're like, if you do express, that might not be good for timing. I'll tell her or I'll tell him when the time's right, or when he or she will be able to understand. This is about individuals. When we talk about things, I think in that we need closures. If I want to leave something, I can't just wake up in the morning and I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna sleep till 11. It can't be like that. There are baby steps involved in it. Nothing happens in one go. Like, so when we talk about saturation points and everything, I feel like it's a steady process.
So for you, is it okay when we tell people कि boss अब हो गया, let's move on, let's
Yeah,
break it here? Is it okay?
yeah, it is, because at some point of time you need to put yourself into the important situation. You need to put yourself as priority. And once you do that, then only it will be possible for you to be upfront and tell the other person that, listen, it's not working out, let's end this here. Otherwise, you won't be able to do it. So if somebody else is important for you, like even more than you can't do stuff like that.
Okay. So how many of you agree that Amir Khan is doing the right thing? How many of you agree? I think this is a third wife, third or
Yeah.
fourth, right? So how many of you agree that he's doing the right thing, doing a proper closure and moving on? Yeah, finding a partner first and then doing a closure.
I think when it comes to relationships, and if it's not our own relationship, like if you're talking about any XYZ person, whether it be a celebrity or someone we know or some random acquaintance, I believe that before whenever we have an opinion on someone's breakup or when they delve into another relationship, it is important and essential for us to consider that we are not aware of all the situations and all the aspects of their relationship before forming an opinion that, okay, this person is right or that person is wrong, because every bond in every relationship has a different kind of an essence and a different kind of characteristics. So it's important to consider that also, that what looks as bad or good to us might be the other way around, and there might be a lot of other hidden things that we're not aware of. So before we talk or consider forming opinions, I believe that it is important for all of us to consider that we shall slow down if it's someone else's matter, and also consider that there might be a lot of hidden perspectives that we are not aware of.
I agree, Shelly, whatever you are saying. But just a thought, just a third person thought. Let me know one thing. Once we choose a person, once we choose a partner, okay? I know, I understand everybody, breakup is not easy. There is a saturation point. जब हम किसी से मिलते हैं, तभी हमें उसके pros and cons पता चलते हैं, right? But मुझे ये बताओ कि अगर बार बार मेरे फेल्ड रिलेशनशिप्स हो रहे हैं, मेरे बार बार ब्रेकअप्स हो रहे हैं, तो इज द प्रॉब्लम विद मी और नॉट, और आई एम ओके? योर स्माइल सेज अ लॉट, भावना.
So it's not problem with you, or you are not able to complete the relationship. You just need to have a proper closure and move on. You have got only one life to live. There's no problem having several relationships in one lifetime. This is again a stigma. Let's have one relationship. Let's be committed. It is important to be committed for that tenure. So if I'm committed to a guy, I should be committed to him for the tenure, maybe a year or 10 years or 20 years or lifetime. But if relationship is not working out, one should be open to move on. Before getting ready to love someone, one should always choose to love own self.
Yes.
So once you love yourself, then you can be more clear कि भाई इस चीज को डिसाइड करके ही हमने रिलेशनशिप में workout karna hai. And then there are a lot of many things. You can work on communication. There are a lot of things which can be dealt upon. There is nothing called a perfect relationship. Relationships are always like charts and graphs, highs and lows. But then when you are ready to be with the person, then you're going to have a more sustained relationship.
You know why I ask this? Because I have seen many people who blame themselves. प्रॉब्लम मेरे साथ है, इसीलिए मेरी रिलेशनशिप वर्क नहीं हो रही. So this is for them. Start loving yourself, and it's okay if you have 100 breakups. It's okay if you are moving on. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. Only this is the reason many parents तो समझते ही नहीं है. Parents तो मैंने आपको जैसे बोला, पेरेंट्स ही रहेंगे, उनको टाइम लगेगा, बहुत ही लिमिटेड होते हैं. जैसे मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता है, मेरी डॉटर का अफेयर नहीं हुआ अभी तक, यार 17 साल की हो गई, कब उसका पहला ब्रेकअप होगा? तो बहुत सारे ऐसे पेरेंट्स हैं जिनको नहीं समझ में आता. दे जज देयर ओन किड्स कि हर बार तेरा ब्रेकअप हो जाता है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है तेरे साथ? तो बॉस, प्रॉब्लम आपके साथ नहीं है. इट्स ओके. स्टार्ट लविंग योरसेल्फ. Chavi, I want to listen to your viewpoint. What do you matlab think? I am mad. You know what I am. I love myself first, and then the second person comes in my life. So what's your thought कि आपके साथ प्रॉब्लम है जब आपके बार बार ब्रेकअप हो रहे हैं, या सामने वाले के साथ प्रॉब्लम है?
किसी के साथ भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, I would say that, because compatibility is a very important thing in a relationship. And if you're talking about two people, तो काफी ज्यादा pros and cons भी होते हैं. And ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि two people should be completely same. There are like really opposite thoughts sometimes. So it might be difficult for people to just be on the same page sometimes, क्योंकि different thoughts होते हैं, different personalities and all that. तो I would say कि problem किसी के साथ नहीं होती है. It's just being on the same page is very difficult.
So I'm asking, this question is only for four of you. You just have to, tell me कि हाँ ये होता है. आपके खुद के friends ही आपको judge करते हैं many a times कि क्या बात है यार, तेरा फिर breakup हो गया. Do they say so? तेरा फिर मतलब what's फिर तू मतलब वापस अकेला. Do you think ऐसा होता है कि हमारे खुद के friends ही कई बार हमें judge करते हैं? Do you
Yeah.
agree with this?
Yeah, I do. Right. There have been statements that I can't live without a relationship. Challenge accepted, boys.
So Chavi, Shreyanshi, Shelly, have you heard from people? This is not only for you. Maybe आपके कोई friends में हो जिसका बार बार breakup हो रहा हो, तो आप ही का कोई peer group, आप ही का कोई friend, कोई उसी का close friend बोल दे यार तेरा बार बार breakup हो जाता है. सुना है कभी ऐसे?
I've heard people tell that to other people. I have not heard it for myself, but I've heard people tell that to other people. Yes, many a times.
It hurts
Because as Shelly very rightly said, people don't understand कि उनके बीच में हुआ क्या, why they broke up. They don't understand. They just pass a sentence. They just pass a judgment. बॉस क्या प्रॉब्लम है यार तेरे साथ? बॉस प्रॉब्लम हमारे साथ नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम सामने वाले के साथ भी हो सकती है, या प्रॉब्लम ये है कि मुझे एक्चुअली अभी तक, यार जॉब में भी हम लोग ये करते हैं ना यार, अभी तक मेरे मतलब का काम मुझे नहीं मिला, या मेरे मतलब की चीज मुझे हो सकता है यार. वी आर जस्ट फिगरिंग इट आउट व्हाट्स करेक्ट फॉर अस एंड नॉट. So how many of you agree with this, that breakup make communication plays an important role? You agree? Wow. Shelly also agree, because Shelly तो भैया आपने psychologist बनना है तो आप तो ठीक है, right path पे हो. Chavi, do you agree communication plays an important role
Yes, yes.
while
it's
doing
the
a
key.
breakup?
Yeah,
Bhavna,
it's very important.
Bhuvan,
100%.
100%.
yeah
But
communicate it.
But many people actually approach me and they say, यार communicate करना ही क्यों है? हम किसी का दिल ही तो तोड़ रहे हैं, तो चुपचाप निकल जाओ. Let's not face it.
Because they themselves don't want to face it, because they don't know why they are doing whatever they are doing. They are confused.
So what should be the communication level? How should the closure be done?
It should be discussed across the table openly.
यार उसमें तो हम एक दूसरे की गलतियां ज्यादा बताएंगे. मतलब I believe that. तूने ये किया था इसीलिए ये हुआ, मैंने ये किया था तूने नहीं समझा, ये सब चलेगा.
Unfortunately, in the previous question also I was thinking, and in this question also I'm thinking, that our society is more approval based. We always keep on seeking approval from another person, and first we keep on approving ourselves in context of others. So relationships में हो क्या रहा है आजकल, या हमेशा से ही होता है कि we try to be perfect for some time, and during that duration what happens is कि मैं अपना best self project करती हूँ, and उसमें मैं अपना real self भूल जाती हूँ, और वो best self ऐसा होता है जो सामने वाले को suit करता है. How often we meet our opposite romantic relationships, maybe in tracksuits or maybe night dresses? No, never. When we meet them in a very, ugly looks or not being very polished, and when we tell them that we don't know how to eat, or maybe haath se khana, untidy nails, do we really meet them the way we are at home when we are actually relaxed? No, we don't. You do, Preeti. It's a different thing, but
most of the people don't. Yes,
because we really want to present our best self, so that we are modifying ourselves on his or her interest or his or her liking. What happened in relationship? Us approval ke hisab se jeete we get so tired that we start thinking ki nahi yaar humse nahi ho pa raha. And then instead of doing that, instead of seeking approval from someone, I think it's important that we start approving ourselves first. First, we know what we are. If I am comfortable in a suit, or maybe if I'm comfortable in Western, I should be okay wearing those things in front of him. And if he is not open to accept me the way I am, then yes, it's not going to work. Let's not invest our energy in that relationship and move on, little early, so that we are not, affected much in that relationship. So pehla is, just to conclude, is approval nahi lena hai humne, and that is major, the cause of pain in the relationships. So पहले हम नहीं लेंगे और friends भी नहीं लेंगे, so things becomes easy. But friends भी नहीं लेंगे. Look, I know my relationship is not working out. I know I'm breaking up. Who are you to tell me?
Self-awareness and self-love are very important to find a person who is compatible enough, because you know what exactly you want and you know what is acceptable to you and what is not acceptable to you. So once you accept that and are aware of that, you are most likely, if not definitely, most likely to uh, end up with a person who would be compatible with you in most of the times. And no matter how compatible of a person you find, there is always going to be friction, there are going to be fights, there are going to be topics wherein the two people take two different paths, but still they would be such that they can be resolved, and they would not go to a toxic extent that it affects both the people in the relationship.
Yeah, true. So if you are in a toxic relationship, one should have a signals in advance and plan to quit before you are invested much.
What's your thought, Chavi, Bhuvan, Shreyanshi? What do you want to say onto that? How the closure should happen? लंच डेट पे ले जाएं उसको और क्लोज कर दे.
नहीं, that's not how it should happen. But I feel like closures are now taking off burdens of your head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much inside you that you just want to talk it out, throw it on their faces, and then move on. That's how they're happening right now. But in my opinion, it shouldn't be that way. So I feel like that whatever kind of a closure you have, by listening to somebody else's point of view of how they felt over the relationship, will give you a wider perspective of how things actually were between you two. So when somebody is sharing his or her problems, you might get to know that, okay, for you, that was not the problem. You were not even aware of it. But when you actually heard it, now that makes sense. Why were they reacting in such a way? Or why were they behaving in such a way? Or why were things going in a certain direction? I feel like closures are important because they make you face the reality of who you actually are. At the same time, when we talk about, I feel like you get so attached to the other person that their point of view affects you in a certain way, even self. But at the same time, because you're so attached to the other person, it feels like that whatever their point of view is, you should like blend in like at least 50% to that, because it's just that you actually give them importance as well, even though you were first, but they're the second, right? So their point of view comes into place at that point of time. So about approvals and closures, that's like what my perspective is.
Yeah, as Bhavna ma'am said, that a open conversation is very important, right? Mostly when people break up, they say, and she rightly mentioned that we point out the mistakes of the other person, that you did this, that's how I felt. But the important thing is, you don't have to point out their mistakes. There might be issues on both the sides. There might be some shortcomings, and putting those out there is more important. And if you are somebody's telling you that, okay, this is something that I did not like, okay, and that is why I reacted this way, we have to accept it, that okay, our reaction, the way we said things, the way we handle things might not have been correct. And I've seen people having this conversation, okay, that I had these issues, I had these issues, and they've gone back into a relationship after having a closure conversation. Okay, so if people decide to have this conversation while they're in a relationship, those problems will not occur. Okay, forevers might exist, but people don't want to have those conversations because most of the times they don't have the answers to the questions that will come at them. why did you do this? Why did you not respond in a way that I would have liked? You've known me for so long, and you still don't know this is how I would react. These are the questions that come. So having an open conversation and being receptive is more important. Okay, this was my fault. I accept it, and that acceptance, that acknowledgement goes a very long way. Be it in a relationship, be it in a sibling bond, be it with our parents even. I mean, I know that if my parents acknowledge some of the things, I'll be very happy. I'll be more happy in life. I am happy in life, but I'll be happier. So acknowledgement is very important, be it in any relationship. That's what I feel.
Yeah, Chavi, your thought process on the same.
Yes, so closures are really important. So, according to me, I think that people sometimes avoid having closure conversations because, for example, if I'm breaking up with someone, I wouldn't want to see the other person getting hurt. So that might be one reason why people avoid closure conversations or they don't talk about it openly because I might get hurt from the things the other person would say and they might get hurt. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Actually, we believe one thing, that escape is easier than talking about the same thing. Escape कर लो यार, छोड़ो, देखी जाएगी, फोन आएगा तब देख लेंगे.
Easy है ना?
बहुत easy है यार.
We don't want to face it.
We don't want to face it.
But, we don't want to face the feedbacks.
Yeah.
क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि सामने वाला हमारी बैठ के कमियां ही निकालेगा. That is why we want to escape the conversation. And this is the reason people don't go ahead for closures, proper closures. But why to blame while breaking up?
No, because Bhavna, nowadays, what, that's my thinking and what I have observed in past 3-4 years. Pandemic aaya, sab kuch hua. Closures have become actually ugly thing. Ugly. They are not normal. Normal in the sense कि ठीक है यार, नहीं समझ में आया, हम आगे मूव ऑन कर रहे हैं. नहीं, वो मूव ऑन नहीं, वो इतना अगली और ब्लेम गेम हो जाता ना आपस में कि यार सामने वाला सोचता है यार इससे अच्छा तो मैं इससे मिलकर क्लोजर ही नहीं करता, ऐसी मतलब मूव ऑन हो जाता किसी और के साथ. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, दैट इज मोर हर्टिंग बिकॉज somebody else is telling you that person has moved on with somebody else, XYZ. So that is more hurting.
So why not appreciate?
Because
why not appreciate each other? Like we being into a relationship over a year, these things worked out, and still I want more out of my relationship. You were good in these things, and these were excellent things. I really appreciate the way you dress up, probably the way you say, several things to me, the way you prompted me. I really loved it. But this is not what I'm looking at, and let's move on.
नो मैं आपको बहुत क्लियर पिक्चर बताती हूँ. ये मेरे ख्याल से ये जितने चारों बच्चे बैठे हैं ना, ये सब एग्री करेंगे. जब हम किसी रिलेशनशिप को एंड करने जाते हैं ना, हम ना अपने माइंड में एक स्क्रिप्ट तैयार करके जाते हैं, ठीक है. और जब सामने वाला हमारे सामने बैठा होता है ना, दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड एंड आई हैव नोटिस्ड. जब सामने वाला जब बैठा होता है ना, वो स्क्रिप्ट तो जाती है भाड़ में और हम किसी और ही ट्रैक पे, किसी और ही टैंजेंट पे बात करते हैं. और कई बार तो हम ब्रेकअप करने चाहते हैं और हम बिना ब्रेकअप किए आ जाते हैं कि यार नहीं, अभी नहीं, अभी रुक जा. होता है कि नहीं होता है?
Yes.
हमें इसमें भी ट्रायल्स चाहिए, पता है आपको, हमें इसमें भी ट्रायल्स चाहिए. आप और मैं आज के डेट में इसलिए बात कर सकते हैं बिकॉज वी आर इन आवर 40s, सो वी नो कि यार बड़े मैच्योर हो गए यार, ये सब बचकानी हरकतें.
नहीं, हमारी उम्र में भी लोग करते हैं.
नहीं करते यार, बट हमारी अगली गेम नहीं होती ना, हमारी अगली गेम नहीं होती, वो अगली गेम
होती है. I'll tell you, breaking up is not from your romantic interest. Breaking up is with your friends. And I have seen women and men fighting like dogs and bitches when they are breaking up, when friends are not able to work out at our age. I have seen the way they backfight, the way they do the blame games, and it's so pathetic. And I have seen it.
Oof, then I'm lucky I have not seen that.
No,
because I just
even
move
worse.
I said, भाई कर ले जो करना.
Maturely कर लेते हैं ना ये लोग. These teenagers, they are mature enough. They know they can try relationship. इतना ugly नहीं होता है. But I have seen women of our age, when they are breaking up, when friendships are not working out, it becomes very dirty. They involve families, their spouses, children, and everything they would have known about that so-called best friend, and they're gonna make sure that it's ruined to the level. So breaking up should be done really gracefully in whatever relationship you are in. It should be appreciating each other.
Maybe because I have not experienced that, so I'm not the right person to comment on the same. But yes, but I have seen one change in the youth today, that
Yes.
they have with us, from us. In fact, they have learned many new things. They have really learned, and they know how to move on. They know step by step process to move on. So I want four of you to tell us what is the step by step process to do a breakup and then move on. Definitely there is a process. आप लोग बना चुके होंगे. And Shelly must have we have been researching on the same. Because Shelly आएंगे, ऐसे लोग आएंगे, because you what you are doing, people need you. That's that's the need now.
Yes, I have like for various internships that we do, we get to know a lot of case studies. The personal details are not revealed, but a lot of case studies are given to us, which some of them and most of them are related to the arena of breakup.
Okay. So over to you guys. I want to hear from you. Please share the process so that बच्चे जो सुन रहे हैं, जो पेरेंट्स सुन रहे हैं, they should take down the notes today. और ये वीडियो जो आगे लोग देखेंगे, they should also make some notes. Who's starting?
Although I'm sure Bhavna ma'am will be giving the expert advice over
भावना,
here.
हाँ,
but
वो एक्सपर्ट एडवाइस बाद में हम लेंगे. पहले हम यूथ से पूछना चाहते हैं, बिकॉज हमारा तो माइंडसेट बन चुका है. आप
like
लोगों का क्या है?
if not, it's not exactly like a fixed process, but yes, there are several ways which can be incorporated by people who wish to move on from a breakup. And again, it is not fixed for all the people. So I believe the first thing, that as we were discussing about closure only, if a person if two people those have broken up have had a proper closure, that proves as a huge factor which helps them in moving on. Because one thing that bugs a person after the breakup is unanswered questions. So if I broke up with a person and I did not get a proper closure, there are going to be a lot of questions. I might overthink about them. I'll begin to assess each and every situation, good or bad, that okay, was it all a hoax? Did the other person even feel for me all this time? So it's first of all, it's important to have a proper closure so that there are no unanswered questions left. Because it's like the person becomes helpless. They want the answers to those questions, but they do not want to get back to the person to ask them. So that becomes the first step. And if considering that there was a proper closure, then there can be several steps which can be incorporated. First of all, people need to appraise the fact that something in which they invested emotionally has ended, and unless they don't appraise it, they won't be able to move on. Being mindful of the situation, of what is happening, trying to meditate through it, etc., can help them. But like as I mentioned, having a proper closure proves to be a huge factor that helps in moving on.
Okay. So this is what this is the language from a budding psychologist. जो मैं सच्ची मैं फैक्ट बताती हूँ, बिकॉज मेरे ना ऊपर से 15% मेरे यहाँ गई है और बाकी सब ऊपर से गई है कि भाई साहब मेरे लिए तो मेरा क्लोजर सीधा साधा है, फोन उठाओ और बोलो नहीं नहीं जम रहा है यार, खत्म करो. श्रेयांशी, व्हाट्स योर थॉट ऑन टू द सेम?
I do agree with Sherry that closures are very important. I mean, I'll be very honest. Everything that be it academically or relationship wise, most of the things that I've done, I don't do them because that's the right thing to do. I mostly cancel out things that, okay, this is not how I want to do things. So that really narrows down my options of going about with breakups or moving on. And one thing that I really, really believe when we're moving from one relationship to another, is this concept of rebound, right? That when you're in one relationship, you want, like Preeti ma'am had said, that you want another option. That's how you move on. But many times people don't realize that they don't need another option to move on. They are just finding that option to distract themselves, right? Those questions that are unanswered, those questions, you don't have the answers to those questions, so you need to distract yourself. That distraction, instead of finding another person to distract yourself, I agree with Shelly, find activities. Distract yourself with work. And then when you are actually ready to accept that, okay, the relationship did not work out, and there might have been issues with me or the other person, but it did not work out. And now I might be ready to venture into another relationship and try things. So that's one of my mottos, or you can say the thing I go by with, that one thing that I don't want to do is hurry into a relationship, to move on, right, to another relationship, to find someone. If somebody, like, most of the times people, not just teenagers, not just our age group, of people of all age groups, what they seek is that even a little bit of affection from another person, we feel that, okay, this is what I need. I like this affection and I should get into a relationship. But that's wrong. That, I won't say wrong, but that's not the right thing to do. Okay, we are just looking to complete ourselves, but not in the right way. And that's what I believe, that just anybody who's listening to this, please don't hurry into relationships when you're trying to move on. Rebound and all is fine, but rebound only when you are so mature that you are not going to catch feelings during that rebound. Because when you catch feelings during rebound, you're done over. And that's, just don't do that. Please try and don't do that. That's all I have to say.
Shanshi, beautifully explained. I must say, beautifully explained. Because actually, when we are breaking up, na, we are actually finding एक और कंधा जहाँ पे भैया मैं वेंट आउट करूंगी. और जब भी हम वेंट आउट करते हैं ना, कई बार तो जो सामने वाला होता है ना, उसको लगता है हाय राम कितनी दुखी है, चलो आ जाओ. तो वो आ जाओ हम पकड़ लेते हैं तुरंत, बिकॉज आप उस टाइम हम हर्टेड होते हैं, हमारा ये काम नहीं कर रहा होता, वी आर एक्चुअली थिंकिंग फ्रॉम हार्ट. सो दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम जो भी हमें सूदिंग इफेक्ट देता है ना, हम उसकी तरफ चल पड़ते हैं. Shelly, totally agree with you. Right, the person should be involved into activities rather than finding something new soon after the breakup. या तो भाई आपको कोई मिल ही रहा है साथ साथ और दूसरी साइड पे आप ब्रेकअप कर रहे हो, दैट इज समथिंग एंटायरली डिफरेंट स्टोरी. बट मूविंग ऑन, जस्ट बिकॉज यार देखो मैं दिखाऊंगा, यू नो आई एम नॉट लेस, मेरे को भी कोई मिल जाएगा, तो वो मिल जाएगा एकदम से ना पकड़ के. फर्स्ट इन्वॉल्व योरसेल्फ इनटू सम एक्टिविटीज एंड देन मेक अ राइट मूव. बिकॉज यू नो आपका जो एज ग्रुप है, आई थिंक ये 19-20 वाला है, टीनेज वाला, राइट श्रेयांशी, शैली एंड छवि. भुवन इज लिटिल, ना वो टीनेजर है ना वो हमारी तरह भी उसमें आया मैच्योर्ड में. ही इज इनटू 24-25, राइट भुवन? 23,
I'm in
24.
Zen mode.
हाँ,
I am in my Zen mode.
Zen mode. Okay.
Yeah,
So
24.
24. See,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying कि because teenage breakups और 24-25 वाले breakups और 40s वाले breakups, सबका एक different altogether outlook होता है. This I believe. मैं भावना will be the best person to tell us कि boss नहीं सबका same होता है. तो भावना बताएंगी लास्ट में हमें. Over to you, Chavi. What do you think process क्या होना चाहिए इसका breakup का?
I really don't know कि क्या process होना चाहिए because I still haven't figured it out. So, according to me, see, I'm a very chill person. So, अगर मेरे को लगेगा कि someone's really destroying or trying to ruin my vibe, so I would like to cancel that person out. अगर कोई चीज भी है, कोई भी चीज मेरे दिमाग पे है, which is disturbing me or disturbing my vibe, so I would just stop thinking about it and just push it away from me. So yeah, I do that with people too. I shouldn't, I know that, but I don't know what's the process or what it should be.
That's
I'm
why I
here to
always
learn
say
about
you and me are same. That's why I always say that.
Yes,
It's okay.
totally agree.
यार अपने आप को इम्पोर्टेंस दो, बाकी ठीक है, नहीं समझ आ रहा नहीं आ रहा ना,
Exactly.
ग्रेट.
बस खुद की
भुवन
vibe disturb नहीं होने चाहिए.
नहीं होने चाहिए भाई, अपना मेंटल पीस बहुत मैटर करता है.
Yeah, exactly.
भुवन, आपके पास
Yeah.
पक्का एक प्रोसेस रेडी है, स्टेप्स बताओ.
So I'll tell you about my process, okay? So what I do is for the exact same situation, I distract myself. So if I'm emotionally weak or something, or I feel hurt or something like that, so I feel like if I have lost everything in life, so what's this one thing that I still want to do? I'll do that. I'll get myself distracted. And when I have that extra amount of serotonin in me, then I'll see now what I need to do. I've distracted myself. Now let's get back to work. then I'll think about all those factors, all those perspectives, all those characteristics of that bond, and then maybe I'll be able to judge things better. Because if I'm not in an emotionally right state, there might be judgments that are completely fucked up, and I don't want that. So I feel like, why not distract myself, do something that I like, or maybe that I love a lot, and then get back to what I actually want to do. Because I can't be in that, fairyland ki haan theek hai, like I don't care about all these things, I'm doing what I like. No, I'll be stuck in a situation that it's the same thing. Then I'll be filling up my void with either rebound or started doing something that I like, started doing something that's giving me that kick, that's giving me that serotonin. But that can only happen for a short period of time. After that, you'll have to think about all these things. You can't escape from this. And that is also one thing that people need to accept. They're like कि हम तो भाग जाएंगे, हमें कुछ मतलब ध्यान देने की जरूरत नहीं है. As you said, कि पहले हम सामने वाला ठीक है, उसकी मर्जी. You have to face it one time or the other. You can't escape it. So if you have accepted कि आप escape नहीं कर सकते उस चीज से, but थोड़ा break ले सकते हैं, as the topic is. So I feel that's what I do, and it has worked pretty fine for me till now.
You know why I said so? Because I can't see सामने वाला वो crying वाली situation in front of me.
And
So
nobody
for
can
me,
trust me.
so for me that is यार छोड़ना यार, normal होगा तब बात कर लेंगे. So I give that person a space उस time पे. I tell what I felt कि भाई साहब मुझे नहीं रहना है. I want to do the breakup and I move on. उसके बाद मैं उसको ना वो breather time देती हूँ कि escape मतलब स्पेस वाले मोड पे चले जाओ कुछ टाइम के लिए एंड कम बैक एंड टॉक टू मी व्हेन यू आर नॉर्मल. वो रोना धोना नहीं चाहिए बॉस. रोना धोना से क्या समझ में नहीं आएगा, तुम क्या बोल रहे हो मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ तुम समझोगे ही नहीं. So this for me this happens not in relationship but with everything. If my VA also wants to leave and she doesn't मतलब मैं उसको बोल दिया कि जाओ कंपनी छोड़ के and she doesn't want to leave and मैम मेरी फैमिली है ये वो रोना धोना, तो आई फील ओके यार एक काम कर तू 10 दिन काम मत कर, टेक योर दैट ब्रीदिंग स्पेस एंड देन कम बैक टू मी, तब हम बात करते हैं कि व्हाट वेंट रॉन्ग. आई थिंक फॉर मी दैट इज सबके लिए क्लोजर और सबके लिए एंडिंग बहुत इजी नहीं होता है. प्लीज, वी ऑल आर ह्यूमंस एंड वी ऑल हैव डिफरेंट माइंडसेट्स. तो हम सबके
Yeah.
लिए वो चीज सेम नहीं होगी. बट यस, मैं ऐसी हूँ कि मैं उस टाइम उसको नहीं छेड़ूंगी बिकॉज उस टाइम करूंगी तो बहुत लंबा चौड़ा हो जाएगा ड्रामा. तो आई गिव दैट भाई पीसफुली करेंगे, पर जब तुम उस स्टेट में होगे वी विल टॉक. come and talk to me, I'll always there for talk to you, but when you are in that state, because I am to that state always. मैं कभी भी वैसी वाली, हाँ मैं कभी भी वैसी वाली बात कर सकती हूँ. I can't show my tears to anyone XYZ. I am like that. I can cry
By the
in
way,
my
spot
washroom.
on.
Yeah, I can cry in washroom but not in front of anybody. I can close, I can मतलब I can only cry in front of one person. That is not even my husband, but one very close friend. जहाँ पे मैं बिल्कुल दिल फाड़ के रो सकती हूँ कि बॉस ये गलत हुआ. Not in front of anybody. Chavi, I think you understood whom I can cry in front of. So I think आप सबके भी लाइफ में एक ऐसा पर्सन होगा जिसके पास आप जाके पहले बात कर सकते होगे. ये एक बहुत डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन है जो मैं आप सबसे पूछने वाली हूँ. उससे पहले मेरे को भावना से पूछना है. भावना, इन सबने क्लोजर के स्टेप्स बता दिए, कैसा लगा आपको? मतलब व्हाट्स योर थॉट प्रोसेस कि क्लोजर शुड हैपन लाइक दिस और देयर इज सम अदर वे टू क्लोज?
So again, as a relationship coach, I always say, let us understand the background. So before breakups, let's understand the relationship. Let's understand love. Let us understand what exactly love is and what you exactly want for yourself. So to briefly define love as a perspective is something which I want for another person, ditto the way I want it for myself. If I love myself and if I love Preeti, I will want same thing for Preeti. So closure का मेरे हिसाब से वही steps होंगे जो मेरे को सूट करते हैं. मुझे चाहिए अगर ब्रेकअप के लिए क्लोजर उस तरीके से कि सामने वाला मुझे लंच डेट पे ले जाए और वही तरीका है हम आमने सामने बैठ के बात करें and instead of blaming we appreciate each other, then I'm gonna do the same way. So it is giving the person total win-win, 100% where he is also winning and I'm also winning. So the idea is not that me ghosting someone or he ghosting me. it should be ditto the same way you want yourself to be treated. It should be and I think it's the best way to do a closure. And then it is very important to do the closures, because then you will not be carrying a burden with you. You know, relationships and feelings, they come out of emotions, and all of us know that emotions are moving energy. Energies in action is emotion, right? So if you are going to distract yourself, or maybe you're gonna rug them under the carpet, or you're gonna do something around it, then it's gonna hit you back in a harder way. So it is something like that. There's a energy, a high intensity rat, or maybe an intensity inside you, and you're putting a carpet on it. This is not gonna work out, right? So we need to accept it first to yourself. Look, if I'm feeling hurt, if I'm feeling victim, if I'm feeling blame, if I'm feeling, you know, whatever, then at least instead of expressing or maybe blaming other people, just shout it loud. Maybe you can simply say that today it's not a great day. I am feeling hurt. I am feeling disoriented. I am feeling, you know, as if things are not right. Whatever you are feeling, you should be, you know, one should be open to express them. And then with that emotion thing, one need to again accept that relationship is about moving on. Everyone have got their own life journey. I am not here in this lifetime to learn only one thing with that one person. I'm here to learn many things. Because it's something like in relationship, it should be like another perspective. Highway पे हम गाड़ी चलाते हैं. Most of us must have been to a highway. तो कितनी बार होता है कि कई लोग हमारे साथ 100 किलोमीटर तक भी होते हैं, कई लोग 20 किलोमीटर तक भी होते हैं, और कई लोग सिर्फ 1.5 किलोमीटर के लिए होते हैं, and then they just move on. So why can't we take relationship like that? कई लोगों का साथ हमारी लाइफ में सारी जिंदगी का है, और कई लोगों का 2 साल का है. Why to have it forever? And why we need to figure it out कि हाँ वो white वाली जो कार है ना, वो मेरे साथ पूरे रास्ते हाईवे पे जाएगी. This cannot happen, right? We should be open enough to letting those relationships going off, so that we can evolve in the journey. We can move on in our life with our own pace. So this is really important to understand. So again, coming back to the question, background तो clear हो गया कि love होना चाहिए और love को समझो. You know, अगर तुम love को नहीं समझोगे तो फिर से relationship होगा. If I love Preeti उतना ही in my professional terms or in as a friend, I will treat her the way I want her to treat me. So ब्रेकअप का सिंपल फंडा, अगर प्रीति को मैंने गोस्ट करना है और प्रीति से आज के बाद मैंने बात नहीं करना है, I'm gonna tell her कि प्रीति नेक्स्ट टाइम तेरे मेरे बीच में लड़ाई हो ना, फोन करके बता दियो कि रिलेशनशिप्स आर नॉट वर्किंग आउट, अब आज के बाद हम दोनों फ्रेंड्स नहीं है. You know, this is the way I handle my this is the way I want myself to be treated, and I'm treating you the same way instead of ghosting you. So be very clear what kind of treatment you want, and give the similar treatment to another person. So this could be the best way to close all the relationships.
I agree. Beautifully explained, Bhavna. Now tell me one thing, all of you who are sitting here, and just a small thing that came to my mind. Girls को move on होने में या breakup करने में time क्यों लगता है as compared to boys? Why boys second day, third day, after 2-3 shots they're okay, and why girls are crying? Why?
Boys don't cry, isn't it?
No, but in journal, somebody has asked me, अभी ping करके, especially the person has asked me, ये जरूर पूछना कि boys जल्दी move on हो जाते हैं and girls wait and they take a halt. So I told that person कि यार लड़कियां ज्यादा समझदार होती हैं, that's why. कहते नहीं, उनका जो ये period होता है ना, that takes longer because they मेरा बर्थडे यहाँ सेलिब्रेट किया था, मेरे लिए वो ये लेकर आया था, मेरे लिए वो ये लेकर आया था, जबकि आई डोंट थिंक बॉयज के साथ, एंड ही इज अ बॉय, ही इज मेल हिमसेल्फ, एंड ही सेड बॉयज को ये सब नहीं होता. आर वी इमोशनलेस? So I want to ask you, is it so? Because we have 4 beautiful females with us, 5 including me, and we have one handsome guy. So what do you think? कि girls को time लगता है या नहीं? It's an equal thing. What do you say on to this?
Okay, so I will not say it's a boy or girl thing. It's how it is made to seem that it's a boy or girl thing. It's more of a how. Okay, so boys are not. I'd say they are not taught to be in touch with their emotions. Okay, so when they come in relationships for the first time, for the second time, whenever they can learn. So that's why they're not in touch with their emotions. So they don't know that okay, a breakup has happened and I feel sad and how should I react now? So they think that they've moved on. Okay, that's how I feel it works with them because they're not in touch with their emotions. Females, we are never told ki you should not cry or you should not vent out your emotions. Boys are restricted. In many cases, they are restricted. So it's more about not boy or girl thing because that's how we are being brought up. If the things are changing now, but still a lot of people from our generation have been brought up in this way that you have to with the boys have to be don't have to be in touch with their emotions, the girl can be, it is there's no issue with that, right? So when because I am more in touch with my emotions, so I talk to myself a lot. Okay, I talk to myself, I think about things, and then I vent out, I cry, and then I feel much better. Boys, I feel they don't do that, and they think that they've moved on. That's how I feel. And Bhuvan is laughing, so I'm sure he has something to add. So please go ahead.
No, I don't know. I just weirdly agree to this. Yeah, थोड़ा थोड़ा तो ऐसा ही है.
ऐसा है कि गर्ल्स को ज्यादा टाइम लगता है, यू एग्री, और बॉयज को कम टाइम लगता है टू मूव ऑन. Shelly, your expert advice on the same.
I also agree with what Shreyanshi said that we cannot generalize it in the sense the only reason that people feel that females take less time, sorry, females take more time and boys take less time is only because the way our society has been. It's always like girls are brought up in a way, in a sense that you have to be more emotional, you have to be very sensitive, and boys are taught to be strong, and strong in our society means not expressing anything, not crying, etc. So that's why it's like even if a guy is taking more time to move on, it's a societal pressure that they just think that okay, yes, I've moved on, this is how I have to be. So that can also be a situation that there are a lot of people, boys out there, men out there, those who do take more time, but given the stigma and stereotype around, they might force themselves. But yes, there are several boys also, those who move on in less amount of time, but similarly there are such kinds of girls as well. So not really generalizing it, but it's more like how what your outlook is and how do you comply with the society and its demands.
Great. Chavi.
I totally disagree that that girls take a lot of time to move on, because I've had guy best friends who aren't able to move on for like 2 years. They've broken up 2 years ago, and he is still in love with her, the so-called girlfriend. So I really disagree. I think it's the amount of involvement in the relationship. हो सकता है, like we talked about the saturation points. हो सकता है the saturation points for guys वो पहले आ जाते होंगे किसी relationship में, so they break up first. तो उसीलिए गर्ल्स के लिए डिफिकल्ट होता होगा टू मूव ऑन ऑल ऑफ अ सडन. एंड सिमिलरली ऐसा गाइस के साथ भी हो सकता है कि सैचुरेशन पॉइंट्स आ चुके हैं रिलेशनशिप में एंड गर्ल्स का इन्वॉल्वमेंट ज्यादा है उसके बावजूद, सैचुरेशन पॉइंट के बाद भी. तो या दैट्स इट.
Yeah, Bhuvan, you agreed to what Shreyanshi said.
Okay, so I do agree with what she said that ऐसा हाँ होता है, because I have seen friends जो कि मतलब अभी तक मूव ऑन नहीं हुए, उनके ब्रेकअप्स हो गए 2-3 महीने पहले, ठीक है. एंड मैंने ऐसे भी लोग देखे हैं जो जल्दी से मूव ऑन हो जाते हैं, जैसे मैं खुद, मुझे टाइम नहीं लगता मूव ऑन होने में. एंड इट्स नॉट इवन लाइक कि आई एम नॉट बी अवेयर ऑफ माय ओन इमोशंस. It's different for everybody. Also, one point I would like to add that it also depends on who is breaking up. So if I am breaking up with the other girl, तो मेरे दिमाग में वो काफी टाइम से चल रहा होगा प्रोसेस। तो एक्चुअली अगर मैंने जनवरी में ब्रेकअप किया है तो देर आर हाई चांसेस कि नवंबर में मेरा वो प्रोसेस स्टार्ट हो चुका है, वो बस नवंबर से मैं उस चीज को प्रोलॉन्ग करे जा रहा हूँ। उनके लिए वो बहुत सडन हो जाएगा, मतलब whosoever, be it a boy or a girl, the other person, for them it's very sudden, out of nowhere, they were not even aware, for them they were in the idea कि सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, but now suddenly they're like अच्छा okay, मतलब this is how things are, मतलब मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था, and that's why they take time to move on. So for them the process starts from January, but for the person who broke up, उसके लिए तो वो नवंबर में ही स्टार्ट हो गया था। तो ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर ही है, इट जस्ट दैट कि वो स्टैम्प कब लगता है कि हाँ अब ब्रेकअप हुआ है। एंड इट्स नॉट जनरलाइजिंग थिंग्स, मतलब हम जो जनरलाइज कर रहे हैं चीजों को कि बॉयज को कम टाइम लगता है, गर्ल्स को ज्यादा टाइम लगता है, ये ना बड़ा ही मतलब ग्रे एरिया है यहाँ पे, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। बिकॉज काफी सारे ऐसे इंडिविजुअल्स हैं, they are affected by the society approved norms and everything and how the society expect us to be, and काफी सारे ऐसे भी हैं they are completely rebellious about what the society thinks of them, and for them their emotions matter. But there are other people as well who are not even aware of their own emotions. मतलब as she mentioned that boys are not aware of their own emotions, or they're always said that to be strong. And what happens is I have seen people who misunderstand being strong as being insensitive to other people's emotions, to their emotions as well. So it's not like when you're being insensitive you're being strong. For to be strong, I feel like you have to be the most sensitive person ever, because that's how you'll be able to sense each and every emotion of yours and then figure out things. So when you figure out a way that how you want to react in a certain kind of a situation with your current emotions, that's when you're strong.
I totally buy it. I totally buy it because everybody has a different sense. Sense in the sense, boys के साथ में क्या होता है, उनका जो peer group होता है ना, वो कहते हैं छोड़ना यार, अब हो गया ना, चलना आगे बढ़, छोड़। गर्ल्स के साथ में क्या था, ओ हो तेरा ब्रेकअप हो गया, ओ शिट, कैसे हुआ, कब हुआ, दे गर्ल्स वांट टू लिसन टू द होल स्टोरी अगेन एंड अगेन अगेन एंड अगेन। 5 लड़कियां आएंगी, पांचों को बेचारी को स्टोरी बतानी पड़ेगी, तो वो टप 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 होता ही रहेगा। तो इसीलिए उसको शायद ज्यादा टाइम लगता है। और लड़कों के साथ छोड़ना यार, चला जा, चलते हैं पार्टी करते हैं, वो पार्टी करने में ही हम भूल गए ना। चाहे आप अंदर से ब्रोकन हो, इट्स नॉट दैट आई एम नॉट बीइंग इमोशनलेस, बट यस मे बी अंदर से आप हर्टेड हो, बट यू वोंट शो इट। बिकॉज लड़कों को मैं दिखाऊंगा कि यार मैं हर्ट हूं और मैं रो रहा हूँ, व्हाट दे विल थिंक, यहाँ पे फिर से जजमेंट आ जाती है। दिस पर्सनली आई बिलीव, आई डोंट नो।
Yeah, there
भावना,
is.
ओवर टू यू, व्हाट डू यू थिंक?
So it's more like a generalized statement that girls move on early, and it has nothing to do with the gender. It is human to human. Relationship is always a brain game. It is always done mindfully. It is always, done in a proper way. Our brain knows what they are getting into, right? So it's a generalized statement that girls' brains are different than male boys' brains. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट कि लड़कियां जल्दी मूव ऑन होंगी और लड़के देर से, और ऐसा नहीं होता है। एवरीवन गोज थ्रू स्टेजेस ऑफ ब्रेकअप। yes, as Bhuvan said, depends who is dumping and who is being dumped, उससे फर्क आता है कि अगर आपको डंप किया गया है then there is a more shock. Otherwise, if you are looking to dump someone, then shock is comparatively less because your mind is already looking for reasons that why you really want to break up, and you are trying to justify your breakup already, and you are already in the process. But then there are stages. Then one moment you tend to know that there is a breakup, then there's a sudden shock and denial, then there's a pain and guilt that as if I was wrong, and then later it comes like anger. Then we tend to bargain. कितनी बार होता है रिलेशनशिप में हम फिर फोन कॉल करते हैं और हम कहते हैं एक ट्राई दे देते हैं, let us work on, and then we go into depression where we need not to talk, we don't feel like talking with other people, and later a stage come where we take a u-turn. We then reconstruct ourselves and then accept and move on with the hope that yes, now we are going to find right person for ourselves. So everyone goes for these stages. It depends, again, as Chavi said, Shriyanshi said, and Shelly said, that it's about how much you are invested in the relationship. If you are invested more, these stages can take longer time. If you are invested less, these stages can come and go in a shorter period of time. So we need to understand that, and let's avoid getting into generalized statement कि वो ऐसा है, वो ऐसा है, ऐसा नहीं है. All of us are unique. All of us.
That's very important. That's very important. Yes, we all are unique. We are already ahead in time. Now, one last thing to all of you. How many of you think it's not about only about girls से मैं सिर्फ बॉयज के बारे में नहीं पूछ रही हूँ यार, बिकॉज रिलेशनशिप एक फ्रेंड के साथ भी होती है, जो ब्रेकअप होती है तो हमें बुरा लगता है. अब फ्रेंड वो लड़का भी हो सकता है, वो लड़की भी हो सकती है, ठीक है, दोनों चीजें हो सकती है. सो आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग यू, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू स्टिल रिमेम्बर योर एक्स?
All of them.
How many of you still remember your ex? There is no bad or good thing about it. Yes, I do. I agree. How many of you still remember your ex, whether it's a girl, whether it's a boy? For girls also it can be a girlfriend, right? Ex in the sense जो छोड़ के चला गया, जिसको आपने छोड़ दिया, whatever, breakup जिससे हो गया, it can be anything. Yes, Shriyanshi.
Actually, I would like to ask something. So before we move on to this, I wanted to ask you what exactly is moving on. I guess then we'll be able to answer these things better. What exactly is moving on? Is moving on forgetting about the other person?
No.
Or is moving on accepting things?
Accepting
Depending.
things, moving on, not coming in their path again and again, not stalking that person again and again. For me, that is moving on. Boss, ho gaya, ab jiyo aur jeene do. Don't come under their life again. This is what I understand from moving on. Bhavna, what do you mean by moving on?
You know, moving on for me, as I said, that we all are on a highway and life is ongoing journey. For me, moving on is deriving a learning out of a relationship. Deriving a learning, reflecting on yourself, what you have learned, what that relationship has taught you. Closure can't happen if we are not learning. Closure can't happen, but if we are not deriving for ourselves that why this relationship didn't work out, why we are moving apart. It is not about blaming yourself. It is about deriving a learning out of, deriving a lesson. कि ठीक है, ये नहीं work out हुआ, let me understand, and now let's close it. Let's now complete it. So moving on is about accepting and then taking a lesson out of it.
मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल दूंगी. हम सबको ड्राइविंग आती है, राइट? हम अगर एक बार गाड़ी का एक्सीडेंट कर देते हैं, डज दैट मीन कि हम कभी ड्राइव नहीं करेंगे? No.
Depends.
No, I don't think nowadays anybody
will drive.
Yes, people will
after some time you will have courage to again get back on the seat, but then you have to be fearless and have a courage to do so. You should have a system which is friend circle, your parents, your support system, who is going to tell you ki okay, accident ho gaya, you can still do it. People who are around you who are having faith in you. You should have that.
So that is again moving on.
We should always be having a faith in our children. And moving on again is picking out a lesson and then closing it completely. Closure is taking up a lesson. Closure is not always कि आप उसके पास गए, आप उसको lunch date पे ले गए और उसको बोला कि नहीं यार ये relationship workout नहीं हो रहा. Closure is always where you sit with a person, you talk, and then you understand what didn't work. Not putting a blame game across each other. Give yourself time and space. Ideally, it's about 6 months. One should take getting involved in new relationships. और वैसे भी कहते हैं ना, गुस्से में और प्यार में लिए हुए decisions हमेशा ही खराब होते हैं. So one should not hurry it up, as Shriyanshi have mentioned it rightly in the previous conversations as well.
So Bhuvan, according to me, moving on is definitely giving space to that person and move on. But ये नहीं कि यार कभी सामने से अगर वो आ जाए तो आप मुंह फेर के चले जाओ. No, you have not done anything. Say hello and then move on. It's okay. How are you doing? That is moving on for me. So as per you, Chavi, Shelly and Shriyanshi, do you agree with my thoughts or you disagree? It's up to you.
Yes, totally. I
I
agree
do
with you,
agree.
Preeti,
And
on
I
this.
also want to add
And
that
Bhavna ma'am.
we should not interrupt their lives, and we should also not let their happen whatever that is happening in their life affect us or
Yes,
our actions. It should not affect our nights, our sleep. That's
I'd
what
also
I
like to
feel.
add like one more point that moving on doesn't really mean that you have to hate the person you were in a relationship with. You can still see them and not have a hatred feeling towards them. It's all about being emotionally available, like moving on, being you are now once again available emotionally to invest with some other person, and that has nothing to do with just forgetting the other person, blocking them, reporting them, or hating them. It's all about making yourself prepared that you can get along with some other person with a good amount of commitment and good amount of loyalty and emotional investment.
I totally agree, Shelly, what you said. I totally agree. Chavi, what's up? What's your thought process on the same?
I agree with you, Preeti ma'am and Bhavna ma'am. Moving on is acceptance. So, like we go through a lot of stages in our life. We pass our fifth grade, we pass our 12th grade, we pass our school life. So that's moving on in our life. We cannot stay in one stage for a long time, and we cannot really focus on being constant at one thing. So moving on is acceptance and growing.
Great. Bhuvan, have we answered your question correctly, boss, or not?
Yeah. So depending on the answers, then yeah, we should, matlab, ideally everybody remembers their exes, because if we have moved on, we have accepted each and everything. And if we have acceptance, so then do we remember our exes or we don't? The question doesn't come, because we obviously do. It's just that it's stored in some other part of our brain. We usually don't scratch it anymore, but still, yeah, we remember. And I would say that I don't remember the person as such, but I remember the situations, the bond, or the moments that we had. That's more important for me.
Probably the feeling that person has given it to you.
Yeah, that's more important for me.
So we tend to forget the instances, but we, yes, remember the feelings associated with those instances. So
Yeah.
the feeling is important. So
Yes,
we
I
always, put feelings in treasure than anything else.
Yeah. So when we talk about exes, people always have a negative, perception about it. Keep they're talking about their exes, but that's the point. When we talk shit about our exes, that's when we remember that person and what the other person has done to us. But if we remember the good things, then remembering our exes, or like, being friends with them, meeting them, seeing them, doesn't really affect us.
maybe, sometimes friendship works and relations don't work. So it happens. Maybe you can be bestest friend after you have, that did a breakup with that person. Maybe तब वो friendship वाला bond कहीं missing हो.
Hmm.
So it happens. So with this note, I don't want any advices that you want to give to people who are on this journey of breakup or who have already broke up. I want you to give them a tip, not an advice, because बहुत सारे लोग हैं advice देने के लिए. So in my talk show, I never give people any advices. I always tell my guests to give them some tips so that that breakup can be better for them. So let's start with Bhuvan.
I'll have to think of it. Uh, okay.
You're on mute. Repeat again.
Okay. So this is what I usually do. I mean, I don't know if I'm right or wrong or whatsoever it is. I have like I have that one thing, a very special thing or a very minute thing that will make me remind of the bond and the moments and the feelings that I have shared, be it friends, be it my exes, or be it anything. I always have one souvenir from that journey that I had with them. Always. I still have it and I'll always have it.
Beautiful.
That's how I work. So
Beautiful.
that helps me cope with all these things, because when I see it, I don't remember the bad side of that journey. I always remember the good side of the journey, and that helps me in one way or the other. So that's my tip of how to deal with all these things.
Great. Yes, Shreyanshi, what's your tip?
My tip, okay, I'll have to think about it, but because
Welcome to the club.
yeah, it's easier to advise, but a tip that people would want to remember is
वही सबको बोलती हूँ, ज्ञान बहुत है हम सबके पास बांटने के लिए, कोई ऐसी चीज दे जाओ कि लोग एज अ टिप उसको यूज कर सके, ना कि ज्ञान नहीं चाहिए.
okay. So okay, this will come out as an advice, but it is a tip only, okay? And I tell this to everybody that if I've had similar conversations with them, they might be elder to me or younger than me, or they might be of the same age. That the tip is that keep yourself above everybody, okay? Keep yourself above everyone, even and how could she say that? That sometimes you also have to keep yourself above your siblings. Okay, and I was like, how can she say that? I mean, the sibling bond is the most pure bond in the world. But keeping yourself above is not being selfish. It's loving yourself. So that is one tip. Always keep it yourself. Be you are in a work environment, whether with your family, whether with your friends, keep your mental peace intact. बाकी दुनिया जाए भाड़ में. अपने ध्यान रखो बस और कुछ नहीं. That's it. That's my tip.
Shelly.
It is somewhat similar to what Shreyanshi said, and it is like, again, it might sound like an advice, but it's not. That if you are facing a breakup, or if you are expecting to have a breakup in the future, then the first and the only person you should try finding your safe space in should be yourself. Instead of going to someone else, try to find that best friendship, that pure form of love with yourself. Like, just try to love yourself as much as you can, try to respect yourself as much as you can, and that will just make the self-love increase, self-awareness increase, and that is when you'll be able to handle it well, rather than going and finding new people to find a safe space to fill that empty void.
Great. Chavi?
Okay, a tip from me would be that always remember everything happens for a reason. And if a person comes in your life, they are meant to go, or if they're meant to stay, if they're meant to go, you will learn a lesson. So always learn that lesson and keep that in mind. And I would say that nothing is permanent. That constant state should go, and you are meant to grow. That's it.
Bhavna?
I have probably two tips which you can I can give it to your audiences. One, talk to someone. Probably I'm saying something which Shelley said, ulta uska. Just opposite, talk to someone, because at times it's our human nature. जिस चीज को हम अट्रैक्ट होते हैं, we tend to talk negative, and we are very much it's very easy to do negative self talk. So talk, be vocal about it, and share it with any of your loved ones, or with whom you have a safe space, where who are not judging you. And another tip which I would like to give is, accept yourself. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have breakups. It's okay. Allow yourself to be sad. Allow yourself to be upset. Give yourself times. Invest in yourself. Then investing into a blame game or a judgment game. And then before indulging into the next relationship, take a break.
Great. So whosoever watching this and who will watch this in future, just remember one thing. ब्रेकअप सिर्फ आपका नहीं हो रहा है, ब्रेकअप जो आपके साथ रिलेशन में ना उसका भी हो रहा है. दिस इज अ म्यूचुअल ब्रेकअप, एंड इट शुड बी बिटवीन टू ऑफ यू. Please don't allow third person to enter in and give their advices, because that is not needed. Love yourself and move on. On this note, I want to end this beautiful conversation, which I never wanted to, because this topic is really very close to my heart. Like anxiety, like depression, this is again very close to my heart. And I would say I am actually blessed to have you all on my talk show, which is It's All About You. And the topic was breakup. And 29th, I'm coming live again. Ask me anything, on Ask Me Anything, where there will be, actually people bombard me with some questions related to breakup, and I have to answer them. With this session, with Bhavna, your session on my show, it has actually given me insight to answer all those questions easily. So thank you for being my guide, my helping book. And with this note, I want to end this conversation here. Thank you all for coming over. And I would love to feature each one of you personally on my show. And any point of time, I'm just a call away, because this channel it's all about you. It's about no one. It's all about you. So keep loving yourself. Keep loving yourself and keep loving yourself. And on this note, bye-bye and thank you. And I end this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.